So, our first and foremost person that we need to bring to the front of the congregation is Kamala Harris. And I just couldn't believe my ears when I heard this. It was the weirdest thing that I had ever seen in my life. Shout out to Frederico. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. It was the weirdest thing that I ever seen in my life. Check it out. Her first policy that she decides that she wants to stand on, the first policy that she decided that she wants to stand on is this.
At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax.
Now, this video in particular is at the Republican National Convention. This was at the Republican National Convention. But that's not all.
Tax on tips.
Didn't get much fanfare back then, did it? Nobody talked about it.
I got that.
Didn't get much fanfare back then. Nobody talked about it. Nobody mentioned it. Americans don't even like to tip no more. That's a fact. I did whole live streams where I was breaking down tipping culture and people was like, oh my God, we want to be more like Jamaicans. We want to be more like Nigerians. They don't tip in other cultures. I said, well, this ain't other cultures. This is America, baby. This is America, baby. That's why they started putting an automatic 18% gratuity inside of your bill because you cheap. You cheap. Well, they should pay them a living wage. Okay, well, we're going to pass the cost over to the consumers, and you still going to pay it either way. You're still going to pay it either way. Americans don't even like to tip. Trump literally went against the grain and said, listen, we're going to look out for workers. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to make sure we look out for those that's most vulnerable amongst us. And we're going to do a no tax on tips. It was not popular at the time. People was not really trying to rock out with it. It got no fanfare, no visibility. The media didn't cover it at all.
Having dinner recently in Nevada where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip. And it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? A really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this. She said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money. It's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 80.
And do y'all also know that they also share tips with the bussers in the kitchen? So a lot of times when you see these waitresses and waiters or servers or whatever it is that you want to call them, they're sharing what you tip or what people are supposed to be tipping them with other people in the restaurant. And often at times it's much lower than minimum wage, especially if you go to a breakfast spot, right? So as a result, he's saying, listen, I was having a conversation with a woman and I was inspired by this conversation because she was saying that most people don't tip. And if they do tip, they tip electronically because they're trying to eliminate cash, which then requires for them to have to pay taxes on it. And so Trump said, I don't like that. I don't like that. We should not even we should not be requiring these workers to pay taxes on tips. And so right on the spot, and he did it on multiple different campaign stops and rallies. And then he emphasized it even more here at the Republican National Convention. Whether you agree with it or not, it was something that he leaned into when he said no taxes on tips for the most vulnerable amongst us. Okay, cool.
8,000 agents to go after him even more. And I said, this shows the level of most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars.
And it is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America. Including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
I said, no way. She was in Las Vegas on a campaign stop, and her first policy point that she wanted to promote to the people, regardless of whether you agree with it or not, because I know that we like to focus more on what you don't like about Trump instead of what it is that you care for about Harris. We don't even call her last name. We just call her Cam Cam. Cam Cam. I've been calling her Cam Cam for years. That's my little baby girl over there. Is that she then directly plagiarized one of the things that he's emphasizing and that he's been pushing into the media and having conversations about. And she literally said, word for word, what this dude said that he was going to do for hospitality workers and servers. Can we get a round of applause for Kamala Harris? Can we get a round of applause for Kamala Harris? As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's go to their websites. Let's see what the policies are, because we're less than 3 months, 80-something days until November, election day in November. And I'm trying to figure out how y'all have already determined that you're going to vote for her, but you don't even know what she stands for. Last night, and Molly emphasizes so much. Shout out to Molly. She was over there cooking them girls. Last night, or she was cooking that guy. Last night, I asked them several times, what is it that you like about your candidate that you're going to vote for? And they kept on going back to Trump. And then I will bring them back to the front of the Congress, bring them back to the front of the bring them back to the front of the congregation. And they kept doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. And somehow we ended back on Trump when I was asking them about why they actually liked Kamala Harris. So I said, okay, cool. And I plan on actually deep diving into this. So I just pulled this up. I plan on deep diving into this maybe a little bit later today. Right? Maybe I'll do I think I might do a whole live stream on the Anton Daniels channel about this. Just impromptu. This is her site, right? This is her site. Harris Walls. Hey, notice, I just noticed this. Notice how the amount goes up to 47. So she's basically trying to project herself to be the 47th president of the United States of America. Something that Trump has already said, 45, 47, you know how it is. So if you go to the website, KamalaHarris.com, what you'll see is Meet Kamala Harris, Meet Tim Walz, which is basically a profile. It's like an about page. Oh my God, this is my mother. You know, I was an Indian baby. I'm standing in front of the people. This is my husband, my white husband that I keep leveraging my blackity black self for. Cool, okay? Then you got Meet Tim Walz. I don't know if they're going to have a tampon up here somewhere in order to say, oh, no tampon. Just his wife or whatever, so we don't talk about wives. We don't go back and forth about that. All right, we leave that to itself. You got events where she's going to be at next. You got a store to go and purchase different things. Let's see what's inside of the store. Oh, you can buy a Harris Walz hat, t-shirt. You can buy a yard sign, and you can buy a sticker. That's what's new. Okay, you can shop now. And then last but not least, and I want to make sure that we don't miss anything, so we're going to scroll up and down. Last but not least, you have the ability to take action. What does that mean? You can now volunteer. You can attend an event. You can try to host an event. You can do all of that stuff. But more importantly, you can donate. And when you donate, and they're going to make sure that you can use all different merchants, right? No matter what it is, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, credit card, all of that stuff. You can even do a recurring contribution. Awesome. So when I go to this site, there's zero, nothing, nada, zilch. No, you can get website accessibility statements, terms and conditions, privacy rights, work with us, FAQs, donate by mail. You can even send your check in by mail. But there is nothing, zero, zilch, nada of a policy in sight. Meanwhile, comparatively, If I go to Donald Trump's platform, which it obviously has nothing with regard to Project 2025, but it talks about Agenda 47, and it's recently been updated with the 20 core promises, and you can also go and read the official 2024 Republican Party platform here. You can deep dive to get as much information as you want. The 20 core promises of what it is that he stands for and what he's trying to make sure that he does inside of the United States of America in general. And then he goes into a deeper dive and all of that. But let's just read the 20 core promises. Seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Listen, you may not even agree with some of these things, but you at least can make your own informed decision as a result of going in and reading it. End inflation and make America affordable again. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Stop outsourcing and turning the United States into a manufacturing superpower. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips, which Kamala Harris stole. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. So they're not trying to take away your guns because we know the criminals got them. You need to be able to defend yourself. Prevent World War III. Restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America, and the weaponization of the government against the American people. Stop the migrant crime epidemic and demolish foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., which is a piece of trash. If y'all ever been to D.C., is literally tent city and crime walking up to the White House, making them safe and clean and beautiful again. Strengthen and modernize our military, making it without questions the strongest and most powerful in the world. Keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. We don't get any of this type of stuff from the Harris campaign. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts. So now when you see people say, oh my God, they want to cut our Social Security. Well, as number 14, it says that that's not true. So now you can go over there and you can fact check him, or you can actually read on his official website what he stands for, including no changes to the retirement age, which means that you don't have to work until you die before you start to get your retirement benefits. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly, burdensome regulations. So he didn't say he was going to eliminate electric vehicles. He said he was going to eliminate the mandate, meaning that they're not going to push this agenda and they're going to allow for you to have a choice of what you want to buy. Cut the federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, meaning that y'all should be in there learning science, geography, mathematics, not in there trying to push critical race theory, racial gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. This alone, if I'm a parent, this alone makes me vote for him. This alone makes me vote for him. Keep men out of women's sports. Ladies, Mama Sadies. Ain't that what y'all want? I'm sorry. You want diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again, meaning that y'all not going to be breaking the rules and tearing up people's stuff and disrupting classes. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship, meaning that ain't no more finessing and you're not just going to have a bunch of people saying that, oh man, I'm a voter, and you can just cast the ballot. No, that's not what we do in America. Unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. So these are the 20 core promises, not policies, just promises. And you can deep dive into everything else that's going on as far as the PDF of exactly what this is. And you can go in and read everything that's happening. It's got a table of contents. You can talk about their commitment and all of that. And so you can actually have documentation to refer to on what the Republican platform is standing on when it comes to what is best for America, or what it is that he's looking to do as a result of making America great again. Now, my question then becomes, for Kamala Harris supporters and those that are now leapfrogging off of this, no taxes on tips, and then you get tired of seeing Megan Thee Stallion twerk or whatever, what do you guys stand on? What do you guys stand on? I'm just curious. What is it that you think is best for America? And then does that align with the 20 core promises? And then you can go in and start deep diving into the policies? Or are we still twerking for votes? Are we still twerking for votes, or do we actually stand on something? And he made it very easy for every single American. You could be a child and read that and understand exactly what the platform is for. Curious. Anyways, I think that this is phenomenal. I think that you guys should do a compare. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a video. We're going to put it on the Anton Daniels channel. I'm going to deeper dive into this. We're going to compare and contrast, even though there's nothing to compare and contrast to. And we're going to talk about the policies and what they both stand on. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me go.